Would you join us, everybody, to say pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sam, would you do roll call for us?
Bill is absent. Adi?
Here.
Kozowinski?
Here.
Stallman?
Here.
Warren is excused. Watson?
Here.
All right.
Okay, next item on our agenda is to approve our agenda.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, removing item B, which had already previously been approved by the commission some meetings ago.
Okay,
I should say it was recommended for approval by the committee, and the board moved on it the
Okay.
following week. I think it was May, 20th of 25.
okay.
I'll second the motion with the changes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is consider approval to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 9th, 2026.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is, whoa, did I do that?
Yes,
Oh.
it's your package right there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Very sensitive.
To consider wetland bank ordinance review.
So, Chair, if I could ask Joe a couple of questions. In fact, why don't we let Joe kind of tell us how we got here, and what he's prepared for us tonight before I get into my question.
Okay. The floor
Okay,
is
thank you.
yours.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, everyone. So the ordinance we are looking at today is a draft ordinance section for wetland mitigation banks. And as you may have been aware, a couple of years ago, I think it was either 2024 or 2025, a wetland bank was implemented into the township, I believe, near Judd Road. And there was really no formal approval process at the time to review that, as with wetland banks. Throughout the state, the main general practice is if for some developments, if there's affected wetlands, you can do what's called a wetland credit. So if you create wetlands or mitigate wetlands on site somewhere else, you can get those credits to where you can then develop your own site on those wetlands. Pretty much, it's a way of, again, wetland mitigation for otherwise undevelopable sites. So that happened into the township, like I said, 1 or 2 years ago. So the township board placed a moratorium on the establishment for any new wetland mitigation banks in order for the planning commission to determine and come up with a ordinance to help regulate that. So that's what's before you tonight, and you'll see there's some new definitions that have been added, which kind of, again, further clarify what a wetland mitigation bank is and what a mitigation credit is. And then you'll see we'll be adding a new section 7.14, wetland mitigation, which essentially aims to just create a process and review process for any future wetland banks that might be located in the township. As we are all aware, Sumpter Township is more wet than other communities, and we have a lot of wetlands and floodplains. So by regulating any further mitigation banks, we're making sure that we're not taking away any prime developable farmland or other types of potentially commercial or other agricultural land that would otherwise be better as farmland or other type of amenity for the township. So on page 2, though, you'll see the various criteria that a wetland bank will need to get approved, which should, and then beginning on the bottom of page 3, you'll see that wetland banks are added as what I believe is a special land use to, believe it is the agricultural district. So with that in mind, special land use process can, again, entails a site plan review by the planning commission and then a recommendation to the township board for final approval. So the main regulations, as I've said, they're buffers from any other wetlands, floodplain, There's certain lot size, and again, it's just more of establishing a process. So if there's any questions at this time from the commissioners, I'd be happy to answer them.
Chair, if I could add to that, I think if you look, one of the big things that this thing will establish is, you know, on page 2, item C, you know, the idea there is that if there's a project going on outside of Sumpter Township, you know, though it would not be acceptable to bring those credits in here, it would be just for the community. So projects within our community would allow to stay within the community and mitigate that wetland. And kind of add to Joe's description, you know, we had one that got spec'd in our community over 50 acres, and the first issue that popped up was we didn't get notification. So notification supposedly came to the clerk's office, but there was no process to bring that to the board where the board had any idea that it had been done. We didn't have an ordinance on it, so there wasn't anything to come to the planning or to come to the board for approval, and it kind of just snuck in. And one of the things that I asked Representative Miller's office to do was to address that issue. It backs right up to the trailer park off of Willis, and they didn't notify a single resident in there, only had to notify the owner of the property. And, you know, that should be everybody who is living within that foot range should be notified. So that's one of the things that got changed. There's some tracking on how they notify people. There's a requirement that there has to be a board resolution on the wetland to bring that in, because, you know, for me, for them to spec a wetland in our community that has the highest wetlands of any community in Wayne County, it just was ridiculous. We have the largest wetland with woodland meadows over there, or crosswinds.
Crosswinds Marsh, and
Yeah.
that was forced on us.
Yeah, and so when they did that, that was one of my bigger issues, was that, you know, how much more wetlands are they gonna put in our community? And the issue is, you cannot create a wetland on wetlands. You have to take prime, developable land and turn it into a wetland. And if you went down there and drove past it, they put up a 6-foot berm around that whole property, whole 50 acres, so that it would keep water and maintain water inside there, so that they could create the wetlands to replace whatever was happening in other communities. The last piece that is so frustrating that the legislator will not touch, because they consider it a tax increase, is when a community like, say, Birmingham, when they have a project, they want to put up a big building, Chrysler wants to go, let's say, and they've got a half acre of wetlands that they want to cover over, and they would come and buy it, the credits down here in our community, they're increasing their tax base. They're creating commercial property, that tax base can grow. Here, it goes as agricultural land, and the tax base is frozen as agricultural farmland. And so we end up housing the wetlands where we can't increase our tax base while they're developing, you know,
Buku.
all kind of projects in their communities. And so I'm glad that, you know, we're gonna get this finally on the books. This is a special land use, so it does have to come to the planning, then it has to go to the board. You know, our decision on it is more of a, doesn't have teeth, because
Right,
they
it
can still
just-
do it, but it sets on the record that Sumpter Township thoroughly reviewed it. We did not want this in our community, and Eagle would then have to explain why they would cite something in our community like
Over
that.
our override,
Yeah.
yeah.
So hopefully the things that we have in here, like, you know, even if they end up specking it against our wishes, that they would not be able to mitigate a piece of property in downriver and buy the credits here. It would only be restricted to our community. So you can put a lot of stuff in an ordinance. You wait to see, you know, if it'll stand up in court, if it, you know, against the state law and what they're allowed to do. But this is a great start to have the control over what happens in the community and not allow the state to do what they want, wherever they want.
Now, how much control do you really have over that though, Matt?
We don't have any control over that.
Yeah.
All we have is the ability to say, we don't want it, we can show why it shouldn't be here,
Okay.
and if they spec it anyway, you know, there's not much we can do, but at least, it would be public record that you're gonna create more wetlands in a community that has the highest wetland,
Right.
bank there is. So you're gonna restrict their taxable income, restricts our millages, cause we can't raise the tax base on there. And they're restricting their ability to, grow with housing and other things by reducing the available, buildable land.
Yeah,
So-
and I'm not mistaken, and the reason why they can do that is because we're not a charter township.
No, it's the state of Michigan Eagle has complete control over where they're spec'd.
Oh, jeez.
It's 100% Eagle has control over where they're spec'd.
And then they go and update the floodplain map.
Right,
And
right,
give us more floodplains.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
So I know this is a draft, I'd like to make sure tonight, I'm assuming we're gonna have to, set a public hearing. I think we should set that public hearing, and if we have any edits to it, you know, any additional language that we can put in that talks about, you know, not allowing projects outside of our community from being there would be perfect. I know what you have in there is, you know, pretty stiff, but anything else you can find.
Yeah,
that,
it looked to me like you had
Yeah.
it pretty much covered.
Yeah, anything else you can find, we'd love to have in here, because we wanna make it clear, when we have one of these come before us, if it's not good for our community, we wanna make it clear that, if they're gonna spec it, it's only for projects within this community.
All right, we can definitely look into that.
Okay, next item on our agenda is now item B. Consider approval of proposed site plan at 50425 Bemis Road, Belleville, Michigan, 48111. And we'll turn it over to you, Joe.
Before we do move on, Commissioners, is there a desire to make a motion to set a public hearing?
Yeah, I was just gonna wait till the end, since we moved on, I'll just add it once we finish.
Well, we can
the next
back
piece.
up. I can repeat that.
I mean, if we just wanna get it over with, I
Yeah.
can make a
Yeah, let's just
motion.
get it over with.
Yeah, make a motion to set a public hearing, for the wet bank ordinance review.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're on to the new B, which is consider approval of proposed site plan at 50425 Bemis Road, Belleville, Michigan, 48111.
Okay, this might be just something that's clerical or administrative, but the address for the petition for plan commission review is different than the address on the actual site plan itself.
Correct, so as you'll see tonight, Commissioners, there's a new planning commission, application before you tonight, which has the, corrected address, so we
That's
can.
the corrected address?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, so it should be 50637 Bemis,
Okay.
which, the new application does show, so.
All right.
We can just add that for the record, so, the site plan being considered tonight is for that specific address, no longer 50425 Bemis.
And, Chair, if I could, ask Joe, we talked about this when we approved the site plan, but we didn't have the address. So we approved a site plan for 50425. And I know that there was a request to clarify the address on that. We need to make sure that administratively was correct, otherwise, because I think it went through that way on the board table, was 50425. So technically, by the paperwork, this address may not have a special land use at this time, because of how originally the clerical paperwork went through the board.
I do understand, I see where you're coming from. I think, and I can speak with the township attorney, because while the motion may have contained a different address, the site plan that's on file I believe had a very specific legal description for that, so possibly we could just say that, while it's a different address, the fact that the plans on file have that delineated legal description, we can just administratively clarify that the special land use is
Yeah,
gonna be
I think
for-
that would be perfect for you to get with the attorney to do that. I think it should be simple, but you know how sometimes things that you think are simple are not. Because the intent was to approve it for this project. We just didn't know the address at the time, what that address was going to be.
Okay, and yeah, and this additional sheet of paper still has the old address on it.
Yeah.
Yes, and our agenda item tonight still has the old address. So we can just make note of that.
Okay.
All right. So commissioners, you also see included with your materials tonight a response letter provided by the applicants, which addresses numerous comments that were identified in my report. Within my report, you'll see on the page 9, there was 14 items to be addressed. I've very carefully gone through those items in the last couple of minutes here, and the only remaining outstanding items that I recommend approval for this site plan would be items 1, 2, 3, 10, 12, and 14. Because with item number 4, the comment was to provide pedestrian striping from the barrier-free spaces to the building. The revised plans that were submitted to me today do show that. Outdoor parking was clarified with how it was going to be allocated between the used car sales and automotive center. Regardless of how they are allocated, the site is exceeding the parking calculations for both uses combined, so we are not concerned with any parking conflicts there. The loading space was previously shown at 45 feet long. The ordinance requirement was 50 feet. Revised plans do show that. A 10% general landscaping calculation was also provided in updated plans, as well as the method of irrigation. I will say for item number 9, actually, we will need to see that added if the commission does want to approve the site plan tonight. For Amor, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, in Norway maple, those trees have been identified as invasive species in Michigan, as well as the Japanese barberry shrub. So we would just need the applicant to change those species to a more native one whenever the applicant comes forward with the building permit. So we'll just need to see revised plans for that, and then that can be handled administratively following site plan approval. 3-foot separation measurements were provided for the landscaping, plantings, and the back of the curb. Again, and then the pole-mounted fixtures have been corrected to not exceed 16 feet, which is the ordinance requirement for this project. So again, with all those comments addressed in revised plans, the only outstanding items that I would recommend the planning commission approve with conditions is items 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 12, and 14.
Joe, I know we had talked about this, and Jill is not here tonight, but I know we had talked about the building construction and having, a brick face, or a, 4 or 5 foot brick face and things like that. Where do we ensure that those pieces, get into the documentation and, are reflected?
If the commission wishes that the exterior building materials are a little more robust with brick face and any other material, I would just recommend that in the motion to approve the site plan, that a condition of approval is again to add those materials to whichever elevations the commission wants. So if it's the front facade, side facades, rear facade, I'll just specify that as well.
I don't think, you weren't here the last time, I don't think, when we talked about that. Yeah, we were looking for, instead of it looking like a pole barn building, we wanted to have the front have, maybe a 5-foot, whatever the standard is, Joe, you'd have to help me with the standard, brick fascia on the front and down the side, so it looks like a true business. We have a lot of businesses that are just pole barns, and, they don't have that professional, look to them.
As of right now, revised plans show vertical wall wood panels for the majority of the construction.
On the last page.
Correct.
Is it on the last page of this?
Yeah.
In revised plans, Sam, are these the other ones here tonight on our desk, the revised plans?
Yeah, I know
Okay.
they're smaller versions. You can see on the left hand.
Yeah, so this looks like this is, the same type of, metal, is that wood or is that metal?
I said wood.
Yeah, that looks like the metal stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
This is the last one.
Well, I can see it on his computer.
Oh, you can see it there?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll- Just gonna share copies here.
Okay.
So that's the west side, which would be facing,
Roseville.
yeah, I was thinking of the business that's there now. It's, no longer Fox, it's,
Oh, yeah, it's, yeah, that place.
yeah, this will be facing, the other side, so basically the same. This is the front. That is the rear.
Joe, on SP 11, you can see that, I believe we're
So
removing.
it's called vertical wall wood panels, so it's not steel, but still.
But it's fine, if it's,
think,
if it's a no, though.
Would it be a wood, you think, still want that?
SP 11, what I'm
I think
seeing,
it looks much more professional.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if you had to have it on.
I see all the,
The new species with the bubbles in there.
yeah, I see the, all the shrubbery and this stuff, and then on the next page, I see the new landscaping table that has the barberry and then the two.
That's what they're gonna see.
That's SP 12, yeah.
It's fine, I mean, we can correct it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just simple. It's just a quick correction.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Correct.
Again, if there's any questions the commission has for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, I think we'll put it in the motion, I think only on the front, makes sense that, you would have that.
The facade facing Ross, or Bemis Road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
facing Bemis, yeah.
Yeah.
So, since you're better at the word of denying, are you gonna make the motion, sir?
I can make
And I'll-
a million
and
motions.
I will second.
Okay, so, we added number 9, because obviously they have to change the planting, so.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to mention that in the motion, though, because you've already notified them that they're invasive species and things, so.
No, that's 9 and 10, so.
Yeah, and the species and stuff. So, I will make a motion to approve the, site plan for 50637 Bemis Road, formerly known as 50425 Bemis Road. With, approval of the planner's recommendations, 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, and 14. The recommendation of approval will be contingent upon them completing the recommendations of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, and 13 of the recommendations, along with providing a standard 4 or 5 foot brick fascia on the front elevation, or the north elevation of the building facing Bemis Road.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Yeah, to clarify, item number 12 was township engineer of the utility plan, so that's still remaining as part of the motion.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I named it, the name, or did I skip 11 to 13?
Yeah.
It's all right. All my comments are in there, so we
Yeah.
can.
Okay. So then, the next item on our agenda is open floor. We have one guest. Do you have anything you want to say?
That's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Okay.
you guys.
Thanks.
Yes, yep, we're all set. Chair, I think we should also
Do you want to-
do it as, we'll do it as a motion to, direct the planner to review the original site plan approval and ensure that it administratively reflects the correct address as now known.
Right.
So that's a motion, if somebody wants a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay.
Hey, Bill, sorry, he did leave me these short ones. Did you want these?
I'm okay. I've got.
Okay.
He emailed me to them, so
Okay.
should be
Yeah,
set.
just so this is a
Thank
lot,
you.
this is a lot easier to manage than.
Then this great big thing.
I tried to
Yeah.
look at the ones that I saw on the email attachment, it's like, no, I wanted to see a hard copy, and then I got this, it's like,
Yeah.
just as bad.
You gotta spread it out and hit the mic and,
So, Chair, just so you are, I'm not sure if the moratorium on the data centers is coming. Rob had sent me the two different versions, and I let him know a week or so ago what version I liked, and he polled several people, and he's gonna get that together so we can at least establish a moratorium for the data centers. And we're working on the ordinance to bring back, and we'll do a similar piece with the
Wetlands.
ordinance. I did hear, and I don't know what is coming, maybe Joe can enlighten us if he knows, the 205 acres on Bemis is now contingent. So I don't know what is, who's buying it, who's proposing it, maybe,
Where's this at?
right behind Dill's place.
Oh, okay.
That 205 acres have been for sale for 13 million for a few years, and they had looked at it, a chip company that ended up going to Lansing had looked at it. Their excuse was, believe it or not, DTE was 25% higher for the power than Consumers Energy was going to be, so and because they use a lot of energy, they chose to go to Lansing where they would have Consumers Energy, I think was what it was. There was also concern of the railroad tracks being there. You think they'd want them there for shipping, right?
right,
But they were concerned about vibrations of the railroad and things also. Because, it's a very, high-tech, precise manufacturing, so.
But as far as I'm aware, I've not heard any news about any sort of proposed use for there.
There's a battery storage facility that is, I think, been approved now in Van Buren. It was in the paper that they said they were negotiating with Sumpter, which is not true. They have not approached Sumpter. But we did approach Van Buren to find out what was the story, and the company will need sewer for their employee bathroom, standard business use, not for discharge of water, not for any, they're not supposed to be processing anything there, it's just storage of the batteries. So at some point, they may come and ask us to attach to the forced pressurized sewer there, or they would have to put in their own septic on the other side, yeah.
Okay.
So that's where it's at. I think, I don't know what happens with the stormwater, if they have to have that connected to the sewer, similar to what you have, down at the car wash, their stuff is mitigated. That could be a concern if they've got, hundreds, 200, 300,000 square foot parking lots, that could create a lot of runoff going into
right.
the system.
Yep.
So, which would then have to start making us think about having a runoff tax like Detroit does. Just at my facility in Detroit, we pay $8,000 a month for stormwater runoff fees because of how big the site is. And most of my site is gravel, not even concrete.
Yeah.
So,
So, can you tell me what they're doing on Willis Road?
Yeah, that's a question.
Yeah, so the property owner was going ahead and developing the site further than they are allowed to under our site plan review ordinances. A resident came in and showed us pictures of light poles being put up and also some, what looks like a concrete wall almost. Those are, of course, as you all know, site plan review aspects that the commission decides on. So a stop work order was placed on the property, so until the property owner comes to the planning commission with site plan special land use, there should be no further work on the site. So if there's any activity you all see, please let us know at the ordinance
'Cause they-
enforcement and
They
building.
blacktopped that whole section all the way back to those buildings, and they've got that row of semi-trailers, and then they've got another whole row of big concrete blocks
Yeah,
creating
concrete
a
barriers,
driveway, yeah. And then there's
Is
a
that
section,
behind the A-frame house that we've always had ordinance issues with, that's right by Sherwood?
No,
No.
this is right across from,
Right, Holiday West.
Holiday West. It's,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's next, is that the one
it's,
that's
it's,
next?
it's Yokomiski property.
yeah,
And
you
that's
know
the
where
one-
the log cabin house is?
Yeah,
Skip
it's
one,
right next to it,
it's
yeah.
right next to
Yeah,
it,
it's right
yep,
next to it, yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all blacktopped.
Only in Sumpter, I think we need to do a review of our ordinance violation
Mhm.
fees, because it just seems so rampant here that people just
Do whatever
do
they want.
do
Yeah.
what they want, and, and they say, oh, I'll take the little fee, they're not gonna make me tear it down,
I mean, having lived on that road for tons of years, I watched all those great big houses go in, and they would have nonstop semi-trucks dumping dirt to raise it up, so then everybody around them's flooded out, and never stop that, then we have that across the street, and, it's just,
Well, speaking of the other one, I think, we had mentioned before, or asked before, do you know what's happening on Rossumville with that big, huge, it's in Washtenaw County, but it's
Yeah.
a huge pile of earth that
Yep.
they've moved
Right.
there. I mean, it looks like it's taking up, almost an acre of property,
Is this in Augusta?
yeah,
Yeah.
On Rawsonville?
right, it's
Yeah.
right next door to the Mitchell storage place there, and
Yeah.
because I have some stuff back there, I'm
Yeah.
in one of the back units,
Yeah.
it goes way back into there. It's got a ton of sand and dirt piled way in the back too.
Yeah, it's all right on Rossumville Road.
Yeah,
It's
you can see it.
huge. That pile up there has gotta be, 50 feet tall? would
Right.
you
Yeah.
estimate?
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
they dug a lake back there for
Yeah,
a
that's what it
while.
looked like.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like they were digging a pond back there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's huge amount of dirt.
It is,
Yeah,
and
it's a
they
lot of
keep,
dirt.
and they keep shifting it around. I mean, one time the pile will be really big over here, then it's all nice and flat, and it's really big over here, and so I don't know.
Didn't Augusta approve a large solar field?
I heard that.
They did, that's not near Mitchell's though, that's, I think, further south. I wish I knew what road it was on, but I
I
think
was
it's
thinking
near the
maybe they
shooting
were-
range.
Yeah, maybe they were excavating.
Well, that's near the shooting, Archer's shooting range is right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and they're 7 days a week, it's being moved all day.
yeah, it's really
Yeah,
strange amount
It
of dirt.
is
It's
strange,
huge,
yeah.
huge.
Hmm.
So, and one more question. What's our stupid ordinance on, not stupid, excuse me, I take that back. Our ordinance on dead cars?
My recollection is, any vehicle you have stored on the property, has to be, licensed, registered. If you have it up for sale, it has to
You-
be registered.
And it has to be 90 days, right, if it's
Yeah,
up for
there's
sales?
a limit, it cannot sit in the easement, but my understanding is any vehicle that is on the property, and I don't know if that goes if you store it indoors, I wouldn't think so, but if it's stored outdoors, it has to have a valid license plate on it.
So do we enforce that at Holiday West?
I don't know if we're allowed to enforce that ordinance there.
Well, I mean, people rent the property, so it'd be like a rental,
Mm-hmm.
because the guy next to me his has been dead since September.
We'd have to have.
And there's
we'd
other
have to
ones.
ask Joe to look into it, because technically it's also private property, but because they have roads, we are required to.
And our police patrol it,
And that's only because of the state law.
Yeah.
That says we have to patrol,
Right.
those roads. But I think because it's considered private property, that, our enforcement wouldn't fall under that.
is there any,
Cause we don't go in there and we don't, write.
Right,
mobile
I know
homes for
that
having
part,
blight,
but-
not cutting their grass.
but I'm thinking,
If it's
can't we
parked
do
at-
it to the owner?
If it's parked on the street that we enforce,
It is, yeah, that's
that may
with the,
be, that may be something
Yeah.
different, but I do know it's different. We can't enforce blight with the grass and things like that, that's all
believe me,
done.
they do, they charge $85.
Well, they do, I'm saying the
But
township.
what I'm saying is, yeah, the township doesn't always do that, but they do, so,
I don't think we can legally.
yeah.
So,
But, I mean, I'm just thinking, there's gotta be some way to say to the owner of the property, if they're, they're accepting rent, they're doing whatever, they're supposed to be
Well,
living by the community rules.
Joe will look into that. I do know that our ordinance just got updated where the trailers are now inspectable. So if you're renting the trailer, it now you have to have an inspection, rental inspection, has to, all the mechanicals, all the things that go along with a rental inspection has to happen.
Good,
So,
yeah, because, and the other thing they've been doing is just
There's some
dumping,
trailers that immediately fell. I can
Yeah.
think of a
Yeah.
couple of them,
Yeah.
when I do my Meals on Wheels
Yeah,
route,
right.
especially over there, was it, on Elwell.
oh, the one in Elway, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, so that's something that's been implemented, that's been approved this year. It's gonna start going into effect. It'll be rolled out, to places. Trailer parks were specifically, included in that because they are renting.
right,
It is a rental.
and it's not cheap,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it's not cheap, so.
Yeah,
I
and
do
they're-
know it's
they're moving in the sheds without putting them on any kind of foundation or
Well,
blocks or anything.
again, I think that's gonna
Yeah.
be there. We do not have a requirement for, I think it's under 200 square feet. Joe, we had talked about this, about requiring them to be on a concrete pad. And I don't think, I had to miss that meeting. I don't think if you added it to require a concrete pad for 200 square feet or less. I know we did it for the
Yeah.
shipping containers, have to have a concrete pad. I don't know if a shed less than 220.
I don't believe so.
No.
Typically, that's not, you don't really see that in too many places, based on my conversations with building inspector.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had looked at that and wanted to see what local communities were doing, and we wanted to do the same. I mean, anybody
Well-
who didn't would just, we're asking for not only animals, but also for, just to rot out, so.
well, you just look at the ones up the road, like presidential estates and
Mhm.
everything, and their rules and regulations within their own community makes it a little more presentable
Mhm.
than just, okay, bring in 30 and plop them down.
Yeah, I would think that the community would be petition them to look at doing that, to,
Yeah,
improve, the community itself.
yeah,
But that's, that's something we definitely added. I know we're looking at the trailer parks for our new water too. We approved to seek a grant, and low-interest loans for improving our water, system. Areas that we don't have it looped, to get it looped, so we
Right.
don't have dead ends, and, areas that have non-compliant lines, that we know are in the community. So we got that approval, and one of the things that came up was the spread of the loan. It was $10 a month per resident, and, one of the first things we asked, we said, well, does that include the trailer parks? Are they included as one resident? Are they included as all of the sites that receive water? I said, because technically, we're feeding water to all of those people who are receiving that improved water. We don't know yet if we can include them, because that's another 1,800
right,
residents that would be included, so.
And I noticed though, because now I gotta take that detour
Mhm.
because of Willis Road.
Yeah.
I noticed they moved in on the Elwell one, probably 6 or 7 brand new units. They're still up on blocks with no skirting or anything.
Yeah.
Right in the middle part of it, so.
Yeah, well, that was
Yeah.
all, that was all blank and, you
Yeah,
know,
right, but I mean, at least now it looks a little more
Yeah,
presentable.
yeah, the Lefflers were doing all the work to prepare those sites.
Yeah. But yeah, now they're working on Willis Road, the bridge.
So, just as an off comment,
Uh-huh.
do you think they'll get the Denton Road Bridge open before they do Gordie Howe?
We have a couple people I work with that they are taking bets.
I think they're trying to get it open before the Yacht Fest or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that Boat Fest thing or whatever they call it, yeah.
I just thought it was kind of funny, it's like they're kind of parallel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what surprised me when they were at the beginning, when they said people couldn't walk on it or go on it or anything while it was under construction, but then they put that great big stand up and all those bodies and for that Boat Fest, and I thought, so it's not gonna cave in with that, but it'll cave in if I walk on it?
Right. Mr. Chair, if there's no more open floor, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So, we won't